Welcome back to Get Married, Stay Married. I'm Jeremy, and I got married to my beautiful wife, Sarah. Here's a picture of us. So young, just getting married. So cute. It was January 4th, 2013. Oh wait, January 4th. That's coming up soon. Ooh, 8 years, an anniversary. I haven't got anything for her yet. Maybe you guys can give me some helpful comments of what I can do for her. Small but pretty large caveat. We're currently in lockdown and we can't really leave our house. So you're gonna have to get creative, and I will be awarding bonus house points to the most creative. I might be a little bit biased to my own house, Gryffindor, but I will consider everybody's comments. With that said, I don't really think that falling in love and falling out of love is a really good phrase. And it starts us off at a foundation that I think is not really what marriage is really all about. It's not just falling. I don't know about you, but I don't think I've ever really intended to fall. I know I slipped on ice. I definitely have fallen before, but I don't really know the last time that I intended to fall. Maybe for the YouTube thumbnail I'll try some falls, but that's pretty much it. And when it comes to falling out of love, we have to first start off with can you fall in love? Of course you can! I know, I can hear you guys shouting through the screen. I know, Dad, I know. You and Mom, you met, you fell in love. Old timers. You just can't teach them anything new. But that's okay. And I'm sure sometime back in 2012 when Sarah and I started going steady. Oh no. My dad's in my head. Sorry, when we started hanging out and being chill, I'm sure I said the phrase, I think I'm falling in love, to one of my buddies, or something. I'm sure I am victim, just as much as you guys, to saying we're falling in love. Anyways, but it really doesn't make sense with things that you actually fall into, like a lake, or a hole, or possibly a moon crater. In general, it just seems like an awful thing. Like you're just walking down the street and then boom! You fell into a trap door. And now you've fallen. That's what it kind of sets up love to be. And that's just not what love is about. But and I'm sure someone is a smarty pants and they're thinking of things that you've chosen to fall into other than falling in love. Okay, that one's off the table. But let's go with my pops and say that you can indeed fall in love. The thing about that is how do you then fall out of love after you're in it? How do you all of a sudden, you're swimming along in a lake, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, and then bam, all of a sudden magically you fall out of the lake. That just doesn't happen. Or you're in a hole, then all of a sudden for 5 seconds, gravity just ceases to exist, and you fall out of the hole. Or on the moon, that one actually kind of probably makes more sense. I'm sure if you had some sort of like rocket boots, you could have fallen into the crater, and then maybe you tripped some more, and you put off your rocket boots, and they all of a sudden just started shooting out, and that would be kind of like falling out of the crater, I guess. So maybe scratch that last one as an example. And I know what you're thinking now. But Jeremy, I know people who've fallen out of love. And yes, you do sound like that. Just tape yourself and listen to yourself. You'll know. I just found out when I started this YouTube channel, not a great voice, but what are you going to do? I would rather say, you know what, someone probably started swimming to shore in that lake. Or on another side, they started digging stairs so that they could slowly make their way out of that hole. Or it was a hoax, and they said they were over the moon with their partner, but they were actually just filming in Studio 51, and it was a hoax this whole time. And you know what? Before the filming came out, they just canceled. Maybe that's more what's happening when people are falling out of love. That's actually one of the major reasons for divorce. Let me know if you want me to go into the 5 key reasons of divorce. and I can do that. We all make choices that gives us the ability to fall in love. First, proximity. Second, somewhat a level of attractiveness. Thirdly, being nice to one another. You actually have to do things that are nice in order for them to keep coming around. Or at least, that's how I managed to get married. Maybe some other people have other ideas. We can make choices also to harm and neglect that love to our spouse by forgetting their anniversary, which I might do in a month because I'm so excited about YouTube. Or the other reason for this video is to address the myth that love doesn't just happen or it doesn't. It's not mysterious. It's not magical. Yes, there's some magical moments, but over the long span, it's a lot of choices that we make to build into our spouse versus building into ourselves. It's the act of being selfless rather than being selfish. And that's the best way to do it. And you don't need some immediate spark or it's not going to work out. You can actually just keep being nice to this person. Maybe it's not as easy right at the get-go, but maybe it'll get a little bit easier to communicate as you get going. Having responsibility for our own action is a great thing, and it gives us power to make choices to actually improve our lives and improve our relationships with our spouse. So I encourage you to choose to do actions that will build up your spouse, much like constant saving for retirement, month over month. You got to do it, otherwise you retire and you don't have as much money as you thought. And that's happening to a lot of people when they become empty nesters. They don't have as much love as they thought, and they were really focused on their kids and they neglected each other. So think of the fun things that you did when you started dating or the first couple years into marriage, and then compare that to what you did pre-COVID as a married couple. This year's a write-off, for sure it is, but you know what? You can take this write-off and you can carry it forward in the future for sympathy forever. So that part kind of helps out a little bit. That's just a little accounting joke. If you didn't get it, I won't explain it. I guess maybe in the comments if you really want to know, but it's going to ruin the humor. Maybe it wasn't funny at all. I'm talking just to a phone. Like, come on, how funny can I be? I don't know. I'm having issues. So that's why I want to give you a tip for this week. I want you to think of one thing that you can do for your spouse this week that will build into your marriage. It could be little things like making sure that the dishwasher is empty, it's clean. It could be buying flowers if you're a man buying flowers for a woman. I wouldn't go the other way around. I don't really want flowers from my spouse. I just, no. But I'm sure that women can think of other ideas that men like. We're pretty obvious in the things that we really appreciate. One of them is food. I'll leave you with that. Make a nice supper. Leave you with that. Anyways, comment down below. Make a commitment. If you've already made a commitment to your spouse, you might as well just make a little comment, little commitment. I'll check back in a week with those comments, and I'll see how it went. I will. I'll do it. And so I don't really like this falling in love, falling out of love thing. I think that it's more like bigger and better. It's like trading up. So there's one person on the internet that recently traded a hairpin all the way to a house. It happened little by little, trading one thing for another, slightly better, slightly better. And I think that can really be related to how transportation would happen. I think it's a lot like you start off on bikes. You're both on two separate bikes. You're both pedaling along. There's no commitment. You could turn, go one way, turn, go the other way. Very relaxed beginnings. And you know what? If you're the only one that seems to be pedaling, you know what? You can just keep on pedaling your own way. Nobody gets hurt. It's not advanced enough to get hurt. And any little thing that comes off that you don't really like, you can just, no. And I think the next one then comes to a scooter with a sidecar. So that's like about a month in, 2 months in. You're feeling a bit more comfortable. There's some level of ease with your communication is starting to happen, but you're not strapped in. You could jump off at any point, and you would probably be fine because those scooters go pretty slow. And maybe a little bit hurt if the driver of the scooter jumps off and you're stuck still in that little sidecar thing. But overall, you can't get really too hurt at this early stage. You haven't really committed that much to this person. I think the next step up is a smart car for two. It's just one of those little tiny things. It's basically like a golf cart that somehow they say is road legal. I have my doubts. I know that Sarah's gramps had a smart car. He was in love with it. He thought he was so cool in his 90s driving his smart car around, and he let me drive it. I was so fearful for my life. There's barely any protection from anybody else, any sort of accident happening. And I think that this is, it's 3 to 6 months in. You could get a little bit hurt. You've made a commitment. You have some protection in the smart car. It is road legal. So with that said, you're starting to get a little bit faster to where you're trying to go, trying to get to marriage. And then I think the next part is Toyota Corolla. The 6 month to 12 month to a year type period. I think it's safe, it's reliable. You're starting to feel like, oh, this could last 10 to 15 years on this engine. And you know what? I have one in my driveway right now, and yeah, we're 10 years in. Me and that car have been together more than me and my wife. Much props. Oh, hit the mic. Much hitting of mic. So at that point, you still need regular repairs. You got to get oil changes. You got to do some regular maintenance for your car and your relationship. And I think the next part is you kind of just keep getting a bigger and bigger vehicle. So eventually you're driving a Hummer at 10 to 15 years and basically saying to everyone, you can't touch me. I'm in a Humvee. And after that, I think you kind of just keep going at a really big protected vehicle until you get to beast mode, which is 50 years. You get to 50 years, you're in a tank. And the only way that you're getting out of that relationship is death. Probably some sort of hand grenade into the cockpit. Do they call it a cockpit? Probably not. Whatever they call it, I don't know. So I think that falling in and out of love is a phrase that really doesn't make any sense. And it's more like a journey that you're on with getting bigger and better vehicles and making it easier and easier to do that. As long as you put in the repairs and maintenance, your car is going to be running fast, running far. Then as you get longer into it, eventually get into that tank status, that beast mode status. So if you made it this far, you have an attention span of an air traffic controller, or at least better than the average YouTube watcher. And I hope that this has been entertaining, maybe a little bit insightful. And if you could just pass along some of those house points for Gryffindor by subscribing to my channel and watching this journey with me as we grow from, we're at 22 right now, to maybe we could get to 100 by the end of the year. I think that would be cool. And also, if you could just take a look at the views, and if you see the views and you just move the decimal over by 1, just basically pretend you're a bad tipper, 10%. If that number is below 10% on the likes, if you could just help YouTube out and help the internet and just make it a good tipper, okay? Just get it over the 10% mark. That's all I'm asking. That's all I need. And that would just be so wonderful if you guys would do that. And finally, remember to get married, stay married, and if you have to fight, do it naked. Now the mic is live. It is now live. I am now microphoning.